Jocelyn. Well, at school, whenever I am eating a cookie, I say this tastes like radiation. In a really happy voice. Your fingers smell nice. I worry that I will never be able to climb up the Eiffel Tower with one hand while holding a small lollipop that my mother bought me for Kwanzaa 7 years ago, the day after I was wrapped in spaghetti and rolled down a hill into a valley which was filled with little yellow men who were very kind, but a little bit salty when I licked one. He said that if I went on a mission to Fiji and caught the rare watermelon, then he would grant me 47 big oil tanks which I could bring back to my hole in the ground, which I humbly called home, and share it with the snails that like to leech onto my legs and ride me every Friday at 6:37 p.m. I decided that it sounded like a pretty snazzy deal, so I accepted. After the completion of my quest, I had so much wealth that I decided to buy a really fancy cheese grater. I then expressed thoroughly to my best friend Huckleberry that cheese graters were never meant for cheese, but rather for bananas. So I went to the local thrift shop and bartered for 7 ripe bananas. I shredded those bananas in that grater so hard that through the friction I created, I was able to start a flash mob. Many thousands of really tall rich people gathered in an exact octagonal shape to dance and sing the latest hit by Millard Fillmore. We had so much fun and ate many veal parmesans and drank the water from the Euphrates River. After the whole shebang, we did jumping jacks until we were too tired to even curl up into fetal positions. The Queen of England heard about this and issued a decree that stated that all rats and porpoises had to migrate into the jester's court so that he would not be lonely when the pool got drained every other week on a Tuesday. Golden boys were the ones who drained all the pools, so they were befuddled when this phenomenon occurred. As soon as it happened, they all hung themselves by their toes on all the cloth S-lines in the land. Sometimes they were mistaken as scarves, and then the citizens of the world's largest rotunda had nice golden boys draped over their shoulders. At this point, the authorities would get involved and come driving up at high speeds in their green motorcycles and request politely that all the little golden boys be placed back on their respective clotheslines. And if ever in the horrible case that the slightly dark red old men were found hiding behind a eucalyptus tree, they would be sentenced to 23 years without any oval-shaped plush hams to comfort them. That usually taught them not to mess around. But if that didn't work, then they were sometime looped around a tall pole for as long as it took for them to promise never to tickle a weeping willow's branches ever again. This, my friend, is why I am worried. Not because I am in danger of any harm to my own well-being, but because of all these poor people that I have encountered in my travels that are not as lucky as I am and are in serious need of an upgrade to their old phones, which are starting to run very slowly, and the internet is not responding as fast anymore. That is too bad. Loopy builders of phones do not take into account the grotesque amount of sweat that a human being excretes in the course of a calendar month. Even if they do receive this data and invite blobfish to test the people who have volunteered to be nurtured by roaming hippopotami, they probably still will never be able to replicate the data that has been collected over the course of decades by the good people of Swellview regarding this sweat problem. So you ask why I'm worried, Mrs. Teacher. I have now expressed with hopefully enough to detail for your liking for what reason I feel worry in the gut of my stomach. Not because of school, not because of issues at home, or for any other reason that people may have for being worried, but because of the reasons that I have clearly expressed above. So, Mrs. Teacher, I rest my case for mayor and would like the world to know that ISIS is nothing to worry about. But these issues that I have brought up today are surely something that all people with a brain in their head and toenails on their feet have to worry about. The end for now. I like eating my hair. Why is my dad shaving his back in a public pool?